On Ashadi Ekadashi, lakhs of people from all over the Maharashtra who are devotees of Vithala, they visit Pandharpur on foot by road. We told them when you commute through the roads, you don't have any shade over there. There are hardly any trees across the road. So doesn't it sort of pain you and you feel like having shade there? They said we do feel the need to have shade over there, but then what can we do? It's the job of the government to plant trees. I said, why do we have to depend on government only for this? It's going to be in your interest to plant trees across this. We are not asking you to contribute any money towards this. We'll just give you some seed packets. Just keep on sowing these seeds by the side of the road when you commute to the same every day. Keep a target of say 10, 20 trees a day. So over a period of 10 days of pilgrimage, if you sow 100 seeds, and when lakhs of workers do this, see the miracle that would happen. They very willingly participated in this. In the very first year, we distributed 10 lakh seeds. We were indeed overwhelmed by the response that we got from these devotees. Next year, we distributed 25 lakh seeds, thereafter 50 lakhs, and then 3 years thereafter, more than a crore of seeds were sown across this road. The entire path of pilgrimage that became green by the efforts made by these Warkaris. But then that message spread all over. Articles appeared in newspaper about that, and very inspiring things started happening. The way people go to Pandharpur for pilgrimage on Ashadi Ekadashi, many people in Kerala go to Sabrimalai. Many people go to Ashapura Mata in Gujarat and in north number of places. When they came to know about this, they started asking us for the seeds. They appreciated the effort, etc. Then we had to tell them, collect the seeds from your own region, own surrounding, and start doing that. So people started doing that. Number of articles in Marathi, English and other languages started appearing, and that is how the movement spread. So that was really a people's movement, started by people. There were no political bigwigs behind that. There were no funding agencies, etc. In truest sense, it was a common man's movement for the interest of a common man.